Welcome to The Entrepreneurial Engineer. I'm Darren Flynn. The Entrepreneurial Engineer was really just an idea to get stories out there from engineers and entrepreneurs and try and get more inspiration, particularly in the younger engineering space. Some of the stories that I get out of these podcasts inspire me to be better. I take notes. I get something out of them. If you're listening to this podcast, just know that I'm working tirelessly to try and get better guests, better sets, and more fun, exciting interviews direct to you. Only 36% of people like and subscribe these videos. So if you can please like, subscribe, and even share on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, any social media platform, I would super appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for listening.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah. I've been, I was up at 4 a.m. I've been out Western Sydney this morning. I've had a couple of meetings, made some announcements. Always fun.
I saw your truck in Austral a couple months back in front of Eagle Homes.
I don't know about Eagle Homes.
It was parked right in front. It was a huge house. It was right near a roundabout on the way to Gurner Avenue.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Thinking,
the geotech guys are out every day. We were out today, had a bit of a convoy out on the site, which was good. Branding's everything.
It is.
And people see it and they go, either what is that? Or they go, I think I know that brand.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more exposure now. Got the polos going.
Got the polos. I got the puffy vest. Oh, look, I'm all about merch.
That's it.
It's the simple things in life.
Oh, of course.
And I think, for simple things, people remember, funnily enough, a golf ball or a keep cup or, I carry around a Greater Western Landscapes big water bottle, one of those big Yeti ones. I love that water bottle.
You can't beat Yeti.
You
just cannot beat Yeti.
Yeah, I'm now actually going to make a note because I've got to get Yeti bottles now. Yeti drink bottles.
For the team,
Vinculum. I think. Yeah. Oh, look. I mean, I remember it was my Bucks party, and fortunately enough, one of the guys there is my wife's brother. He's got a good sense of humor, and he made these stubby holders. And I'm still seeing those stubby holders everywhere, right? I got married like 12 years ago more. Well, I shouldn't say, maybe 13 and or 14. When I think about it and do the math. But yeah, I love the stubby holder. I always have the stubby holder. Lots of friends still take photos of the stubby holder. And, it's a stupid photo of me, but it's just a thing, right?
I mean, remember.
Yeah, it's little things that you remember like that catch your eye. So, and the fact you mentioned it obviously meant that branding worked.
Definitely.
Tick box.
It never really is the full memory, is it? It's always something that, I suppose, uncovers it from some deep, dark portion of your mind, eh? Whether it be the stubby holder, whether it be a scent, an old photograph, even.
Yeah, it can be anything, right? And, it is those things. I think what people say as well, I find, the way they say things, I think deja vu and serendipity are one of those crazy things in life.
Great movie.
They trigger, what, deja vu?
Serendipity.
What? I don't know that movie.
Oh, it's a rom-com with John Cusack.
Oh, okay.
Way back when.
Don't know it.
That's all right. You've got your happily ever after.
What's that? Is that a movie?
No, that's your marriage, mate. 14 years.
I'm very lucky. No, my wife is amazing. She's my rock. We talk every single day. We talk about everything. Our conversations are rich. They're real. And I couldn't be here without her.
I mean, it's those hidden support structures, isn't it? I mean, you're juggling heaps. So it's the little pockets where you can just recoup, get a bit of aid. I suppose this might be one of them.
Sounding boards are everything in life and career. Being able to rely on people is very important. Having someone who's got your back, also very important. And just having someone that you can be real with and relate to, who knows your personality and how you are. Like, I'm a control freak. I like to
Mm.
control everything. So sometimes to go, I don't want to do that. And I think too, separating boundaries. Like, my wife she's all kids. You know, she's kids. It's all her domain. And I think now there's a lot about sharing different parts of different things and compartmentalizing and saying, okay, well, I'll do this thing, you do that thing. And then on the occasion, it's like, well, I'll do this bit, but you do that bit on the same task that might have two different things.
Mm.
So sharing a lot of that is really important, and just clear boundaries about who's doing what. And it is great when you think you had to do something and you go, I've got to go do that thing. And then you're like, oh, they already did it. Ah, how refreshing is that?
It's a good little feeling, eh?
I say it all the time to the people I work with and my staff is, if you can go do the thing and do it well, and then I don't have to do it, then we need more of you.
There's that proactivity, there's that communication, being clear about it, getting it done before it even becomes a problem.
Yeah, before it's even on a list. The best thing I think any young engineer can do is make their boss look good.
True.
Make your manager look good. Make sure they know. You don't have to brown nose them, but I think when you're coming up with, hey, here's the thing, it's about saying, okay, well, here's the thing, but here's the solution to the thing.
Mm.
Or here's a thing or an issue, here's what I would do. Or maybe here's what you should do.
Mm.
Because a lot of people usually come with, oh, there's a problem, but they
Mm.
won't come with the solution or maybe a strategy to solve it.
That's actually interesting. You speak about problem solving, and of course, engineering is problem solving essentially. What is your approach to teaching younger engineers on how to actually problem solve? Do you use the 5Ws, the 1H? Do you use the OODA loop? Do you use, could be relating it to a previous experience, applying the same methodology? How do you actually enforce that idea of problem solving? What tools would you say would work within this?
Keep asking people till you find someone that knows the answer.
Mm?
Continually challenge from multiple perspectives. A lot of people see a problem and they don't know how to solve it. I spent a lot of my younger career, like, I just ring people. I just keep ring people. Hey, do you know about this? No. Oh, do you know someone who does? Yes. Ring them. Do you know? Oh, and I just keep ringing people until I could find someone that could say, oh, I had that problem and this is what I did. The internet took away a lot of that. I think AI has taken a lot away from that. A lot of people now, if they don't know the answer, they're lazy, right? I mean, people are lazy. They just go, oh, I'll just AI that thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think, AI? Oh, this. Oh, that has to be the answer. That's just slop.
Mm.
That's AI slop. To be able to challenge a problem from multiple perspectives takes experience. And I think as a young engineer, you've got to understand your limitations. The best thing you can do is ask an engineer who's got more experience. I think the easiest way to do it is to communicate the problem to someone that's been there before and can give you the answer. 5 whys, all those things you mentioned, yeah, they're great tools. But at the end of the day, if you don't know the answer to one of the first whys, well, you're not going to be able to challenge it in a multiple disciplinary way. I think the other thing is that a lot of problems have solutions that aren't engineering. So you might have an engineering problem that has a planning solution. Or you might have an engineering problem that has like a ecology solution. Or vice versa, where you might be able to solve your problem if you had a bushfire consultant that may give you the answer without it being an engineering solution. So I think the more that you can lean on multidisciplinary other sectors or components or across, whether it's, quality, safety, environment, community, whatever it might be, try and challenge it from a different perspective. And I think only lastly on the point, you got to put yourself in the shoes. So I found this when I worked very early on with Sydney Water about we're designing this big pit. It was a valve chamber or something, and had a guy come in. He goes, oh, I can't get down in that pit. It's too small. I can't maintain the valve. I don't have enough room to take this part of the bolt off here. And it wasn't until you realized that there was and I don't like the term so much, but a human-centered design approach. Often think about what is the person who's going to use this product or service or whatever it might be. Put yourself in their shoes. What are the problems they're facing? What are the solutions they need? It's a really simple way to just visualize something about what is the actual function or purpose of the thing, and then how is a human going to use it, or how is it going to function in 50 years or 100 years or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so it seems like, just summarize a lot of what you're saying, is that a lot of the backbone for, I suppose, good problem solvers is building up that wealth of experience. And if you don't have that yourself, you can then rely on, like you said, multidisciplinary teams, your colleagues, other consultants. I believe previously you've also mentioned it's about finding that the one factor that almost gives you 80% of the results, such in your case would be that bushfire consultant or that possibly that town planner, which really drives a project forward. And in return, you get that experience working with them, which now, come 20, 30, 40 years later, you've now got that experience in your pocket where you can now relate to any other problems you may face. So I suppose getting that exposure across a massive amount of surface area seems really beneficial in that regard.
Yeah, it's a surface area to volume ratio, but just asking better questions.
Mm.
You know, you just need to ask a question, ask a better question, ask a better question, and just keep asking questions until you get to the point where you know the real answer.
Mm.
So I think a lot of younger engineers, they ask a question, oh, yep, but then they don't challenge the answer. I love it when people challenge me. I love it. I want people to challenge. I want people to go, because I'm a decision maker.
Mm.
That's how I frame my career. That's how I started my career. Is just the quicker you can make a decision on something, the quicker you can move the dial. The quicker you can move a project. The quicker you can move the design. And sure, sometimes you might not be 100% correct. But I think for young engineers, the most important thing is to challenge. And I think they need to go, here's my question. And then there's an answer. Why?
Mm.
Oh, because that's how we've always done it. Oh, that's not good enough. Why? Just like a 5-year-old, right?
Mm.
Keep asking why. Because a lot of people just take the answer, write it down, and walk away. And they don't know why. Find out the why, and then I think you'll get better experience so that next time someone asks you, you'll know why.
There you go. So I guess the actionable step from that is, like you said, just ask why. If you want to know how to challenge the answer proposed to you, just ask why. Why?
Just ask why.
I was told the exact same thing from David Johnson, one of the directors at J. Wyndham Prince.
DJ?
DJ, one of my reviews, he said, ask why. Why do we have floodplains? Why is the master plan like that? You'll get an answer. The answer will narrow it down, will sort of laser it a bit. Ask why again. It'll laser it a bit. Ask why again. All the way down. And next thing you know, like you mentioned, you've got the core of it. Now, something else you mentioned is what's critical in your early career and you recommend for younger engineers is curiosity. You mentioned curiosity as being the North Star of your career, your guiding light. It's helped you find your niche. It's led you to discovering all the 6, 7 plates you are now juggling. Could you expand on that idea of curiosity and how it helped you understand where you didn't want your career to go and later on where you did want it to go?
Yeah, so I've always been a curious person. I've always liked tinkering with things. I have talked about how I pulled apart a Walkman when I was a kid just to see how it worked. That was cool. I didn't even put it back together after ages because it just was cool how the track turned and how the turntable worked. And there was like a little rubber band piece that snapped, and then I fixed it with another rubber band. I was pretty proud of that.
Dad must have been furious.
Yeah, nah, he didn't care as long as it worked. And I think asking people their advice, like constantly asking advice, like I see it a lot of the time. You say, they go, this is what you need to do. And you go, okay, what would you do? Oh, a lot of time people don't ask that. A lot of time tradies, engineers, contractors, constructors, you're on a site, there's a problem. Oh, I've got this big problem, and everyone look to you. Oh, you're the engineer. You're like, oh, yeah. Mr. Contractor, what would you do? Oh, or Mr. Foreman, what would you do? Because you honestly always seem to find that they know what to do, but they want someone else to give the leadership to tell them what to do. So I think being curious enough to ask the question, like, what would you do? Early in my career, asking why early in my career, being curious about how things worked. Because there's so much just in life, business, engineering, particularly engineering, where being curious about things that weren't part of the work I was doing, particularly in planning and environment, helped me be able to become a better engineer. Construction, definitely, being curious about construction, even to the point where I wanted to know, what sort of petrol the excavator had, or how they refueled it, and when did they refuel it, and why did that happen, and then where did the guy refuel, and then I was curious enough to want to understand about the tracks, and then the pneumatic oil and the oil in the excavator arm, and then where did they plug that in, and when a hose broke, how does that arm lift?
Mm.
And then, then I got to things about like swift lifts and chains and slings and load ratings on those. Then I wanted to know about the safety requirements and the tickets and the registers and all the things that you had to train. And then why were there two control pieces, and one did this and one did that, and one swung the body and the other one did this thing, and then there was that. And then why did the bucket go on both ways?
Mm.
And I just kept asking more and more and more, to the point where I just, people got not annoyed, but I just used to always just constantly just be pinging questions at everyone I could, because I just wanted to know how things worked.
Did you do that when you were on site at Waverley Council a lot? When you're with the boys and the diggers, dumpies and all that?
Yeah, Waverley Council was, that was awesome, right? So, oh man, I mean, I was so fortunate just to get the job. I applied for it in the newspaper back in '98. I think
Newspaper?
It was. Yeah, I applied for that job in the newspaper.
Yeah, right.
Yep. And another good friend of mine, Adrian Moon, hope you're listening, mate. He also applied, because I remember someone said, "Oh, how'd you go with your internship?" I'm like, "Oh, I got a job at Waverley Council." It's like, "So did I." I'm like, "Oh, well, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a design engineer." And I was like, "Oh, cool." He goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." I rocked up there on Monday, and he's like, "What do you mean you don't know?" I'm like, "I don't know. I got the job. I did an interview. They wanted me to come in." And I get there on day one, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're not in the office. You got to go work down at the depot." I'm like, "What depot?" They're like, "Yeah. We start at 6:30 every day." And at that time, I was in St Leonard's, and I think it was the 5:14 train I had to catch, and then I had to get 2 buses to get there by 6:30 in the morning. And I get there on day one, and they're like, "Oh, you're with the pothole crew." There was this bunch of old Italian blokes, and we used to go out, and they had a tray of hot mix and shovels and a tamper, and we just go fill potholes all day.
Physical tamper, eh?
Oh yeah. And I was on
jeez.
that tamper. I was on that shovel, and then I worked with the plumber. We were snaking drains. Oh man, I remember once I got absolutely covered in sewage. Like you couldn't believe, like toilet paper and all.
Well, how did that happen?
Oh, we were clearing out like a boundary trap from, I think it was like a church. I can't remember. And he was up on the snake, and I was out the back, and we had this pit open, nothing in it. And he's like, "Oh, is it coming out yet?" And I was like, "Nah, nothing." He's like, "What about now?" I'm like, "Nah, nothing." And then literally it just went, just exploded all over me. It was, he thought it was hilarious. I actually, he rinsed me down with the hose, and then he drove me home, thankfully, because I didn't particularly want to go on the bus.
Were you like, holy crap, as it happened, or?
Oh, dude, it was not funny, man. Yeah, I mean, we used to have burgers for the lot for Smoko at 9 a.m. Chico rolls, cans of V. And then I remember my boss goes, "Oh, we need you to go build some roundabouts." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, cool." So, had to go on the lollipop with the traffic control, and had this crew, these big Tongan guys, and they were, doing the roundabout, and we were like, "Yeah, cool." And I was helping them. We were pouring concrete and whatever. And I do remember, there was a moment when I went back in the office, and one of the other guys, I don't know, some engineer was doing some pelicans, and he had this design, and I said, "Oh, okay, this looks all right. Yeah, yeah." And I could see his turning paths and how he done it all. I said, "Oh, how you gonna put them on the asphalt?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" So he said, I'll just pour them on." I said, "You can't just pour concrete on the asphalt, mate. Just..."
Spill out.
And he goes, "Oh, I'll just glue them." I'm like, "No, you can't glue them, mate. You gotta put some dowel pins in and like actually form it up, and you probably want to cut the asphalt out so it's embedded. So it's..." He's like, "Oh yeah," and that's when I went, "Oh, hold on, I'm not a design guy, but all of a sudden I'm telling this guy how to design." And then a couple of weeks later, I got to move into the office, and he's like, "Oh, the guys are doing another roundabout. I want you to go like project manage it." And I was like, "Okay." I get down there, and all the guys, these big Tongan guys, they're laughing at me. "Oh, look at you in a suit. You fucking get on the shovel, mate." Whatever. And I was like, guys. And I remember there was like a concrete batch, like failed the slump or something. I can't remember. It was something really trivial. And I was like, "No, gotta reject it." And they're like, "Oh, come on, mate." Like, and then they're like, "Oh, no. Like, he knows what he's talking about. Let him..." Nah. Yeah. Oh, yep. And I felt like there would have been this sort of like big sort of rejection of me being this young guy coming on site telling them what to do, when if I hadn't have been with them shoveling the last one or in the trench or whatever it was, it made me realize that if I hadn't had that rapport, they would have just laughed me off the site.
Oh,
They wouldn't
completely
have
agree.
even given me they would have been, "Who's this young punk?" Right? So maybe not so much curious there, but I think what happened out of that is I understood what it was like to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., whatever it was every day. I understood what it was like to be on the shovel all day or tamping. I actually had an exam question on how to fill a pothole, which I thought I did quite well. We used to trim them out and everything. But I got to talk to real people doing real work, and I think that was the one thing I took away from that job, was about relating to like the workers, to the construction guys, to the guys who are just like in the shit, doing it every single day with the boots on, going at it and loving it. And that was, I learned so much from them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. When I was on site, I was doing. We wanted to open up the half roads because our permit was ending. The last bit we needed to do was put some of the hot mix down. Now our timing had run out. The machine couldn't actually put the hot mix down, so we just had it dumped in a certain area, and we were shoveling it by hand. Now the big thing was actually compacting it. So there we were. It's past 5 o'clock, but our DA condition said we could work till 6. So some of the boys had gone home. It was myself, another project engineer, and a couple of the boys on site, a couple of the laborers. So there we all were with our shovels. We're all shoveling the hot mix onto the road, and then we got my ute and we're using that to drive over just on where the saw cut was on the half road, trying to pack it in, make it somewhat nice. And like still now I think back to that moment, and I remember that so much more vividly than I do any of the design stuff I did. I think partially because it was so real. You're literally in the mix, doing the work, whether it be filling out potholes, whether it be within a drainage pit itself. I've been at one point I was trying helping lay down ag line, and that itself is laying down ag line's one thing, but when you're trying to insert ag line into a cast in situ pit, that's a whole nother can of worms. And it definitely does give you a deeper appreciation for what the boys on site do. I think in that point, you're acting as a project manager. You've had to juggle what the boys are doing on site, manage the expectations in the office, and in the same way, managing a lot more than that, which sort of does lead me to my next question about managing entrepreneurship. It's anxiety inducing, it's uncertain, it's bloody stressful. How do you know you're making the right moves when you're doing something that no one has really done before?
Yeah, it's funny you talk about that. I was actually just talking about that with someone earlier today, about how do you know like what you're doing is even the right thing to do. A lot of it is uncharted waters. The person I was talking to used the word whimsical, around like, you just whimsically fantasizing about an idea, and then you test the idea, and then you think, okay, well, hold on, this has some merit. You talk to everyone about the idea, whatever it is, and you garner feedback. Feedback loops are so important. Testing ideas is so important. And I think you're never going to know. I think that whole anxiety piece, I mean, openly, I think it was the first 3D event we ever did. Like, it was pouring with rain, absolute torrential. I'm just thinking, no one's coming. I'm thinking, no one's coming. It's going to be a dud. And then I just went, well, at least I'll have lots to drink myself.
Amen.
And I realized, just like, you know what, who cares? Like, I think you've got to sort of throw yourself at some things, lose the ego, and just go, well, you know what? At least I gave it a shot.
Have a go.
And I'll never die wondering. And, you know, even now, like right now, there's like 6 or 7 things that I will still want to do in my life. And I don't know if I'll get to them, but I'm going to die trying. Because there's only so many hours in a day and there's only so many things you can do. But to your point around just the anxiety and the, you know, imposter syndrome, inverted commas, whatever you call it, it's always going to be there. But I think the more that you talk to people, get those feedback loops, test your ideas, constantly test, challenge yourself. The conversation I had with someone was basically, they love it when they're in startups, and they love it when people come in and go, that won't work because of these reasons. And you're like, oh, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Or, yeah, but what about this? Oh. The more you have people challenge you, and the more you test, and the more you communicate your ideas and continually ask yourself and ask others, what are the things? I think you'll be able to lose some of the anxiety behind, gain the competence to be more confident. And I talk about competence and confidence a lot. I think that's the one thing, like, there's some things, of course, like I'm doing right now, like no one's done before. I'm not even talking about entrepreneurship. I'm even talking about just logic and engineering. And they're the most things that will set you free, because if you can back yourself to do those things with the experience and the knowledge that you have, they'll be the things that will leverage you into success.
So it's action, revise, get the feedback, revise again, implement again, constantly doing that again and again, and it will slowly start to steer you in the direction you want to go.
Yeah, I believe so. I think, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, that whole mantra. But about you've just got to test everything, because I think what happens is people go, oh, this is a great idea, but then they won't do it because they're too scared. And then you have the people who will like try and implement, ideate and test and challenge. And then they get to a point where they go, okay, well, I've got enough, and I'll call it maybe like a business case. I've got enough of a business case to understand what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, whatever, SWOT analysis. But I've gone through a process where I realized that I'm right here now and this has merit. So I think a lot of that, you mentioned anxiety, and I don't, you know, sure, everyone gets anxious about stuff. Yeah, I get that. But I think a lot of people have that because they haven't tested it. They haven't tried it. So it's unknown. And when things are unknown, or you can't control them, or they're outside your sphere of competence, that's when you get anxiety, because you don't know. And until you know, then you go, oh, well, I know now. And it's either a yes or a no or a maybe or whatever, or it's a park, it doesn't matter. I think you've got to get to a point to challenge yourself to get through that. And until you know, you don't know.
So it's really, don't ruminate, just do. You want to know, just do.
Yeah, I mean, talked about decision-making processes. You push forward. I don't think it's just about doing. Doing's great. Like, I see heaps of people just doing, but they don't know why. I think your question about entrepreneurship and anxiety is more about going, if you're anxious about something, it's because you don't know whether or not it's going to work. But if you've tested something enough to know that you've got the interest for it to work, then you won't be anxious about it. You'll be excited, because you already know that you've got past the gates or the hurdles or whatever it might be to get to the next thing.
Yeah, you're slowly understanding, I suppose. And in that same vein, you've got Vinculum Advisory, legacy property, 3 degrees of separation. the entrepreneurial engineer, both as a career coach and a podcast host, as well as Hope in a Suitcase. Could you please tell me a little about each of these and your role in them and what they do?
Yeah,
Because that is a lot of stuff.
it is a lot of stuff. Hoping to add more to that list. Yeah, I mean, Vinculum Advisory is an engineering company. We specialise particularly in Sydney water engineering assessments and design. We're a water service coordinator now. We do geotechnical engineering and we do delivery management, particularly in the industrial space and resi space. Really just a room full of engineers that want to provide value, innovation, and move the market forward and really become thought leaders in the industry. We do things differently. We're very much focused on value and saving clients money and time, and really looking for innovation. Value engineering is at the core of what we do. Legacy Property, I'm a technical director there. Anyone listening, Legacy Property is one of the best property developers in New South Wales. Smart, sophisticated, very savvy, amazing place to be a part of, and I love every minute I'm working with that business. Amazing projects, amazing people, and yeah, some of the best communities I think that will be delivered in the next 5 or 10 years. An amazing place to work to be able to provide the engineering competence that I have and put that into a development framework. I'm a technical director there. I love that because I can actually see the value directly, not just to the communities, but to the engineering, to the outcomes, to the councils that we work with. 3 Degrees of Separation. This is a networking event for young entrepreneurs, engineers, clients, consultants, contractors, planners, really anyone in the engineering development space, infrastructure space. New way to network, face-to-face, give people the opportunity to spitball ideas, pitch business, get jobs. The amount of people who've got jobs from the event is amazing. I love that. I've had people pitch to me. I've pitched to people. I've met so many people that I've never met before in industry. And yeah, very much looking forward to our next event in November, which is about infrastructure. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Entrepreneurial engineer, it's mentoring, coaching for young engineers. I've had about 50-something people through the cohort, help people get jobs, help people get pay rises, help people navigate their career challenges. I've helped some people start some businesses. I've helped people with their systems and processes. Really at the moment, formulating, obviously got this podcast, very excited by that. I love mentoring and coaching. I really want to give back, and I want to be able to give, I guess, my career and my experience into, I'd say, a package of something and be able to help others use my experience and knowledge and hopefully pass on some of that. And Hope in a Suitcase. So, yeah, I'm an ambassador for Hope in a Suitcase. That is a charity for foster kids who are going into care. It provides a suitcase for those kids. I was in foster care when I was young. I did fortunately have a bag when I went. A lot of young kids that go into foster care don't. If they're lucky, they might have a garbage bag full of whatever belongings they can take at the time. Sometimes they don't even get anything because of the circumstances. So that for me is, I'm very passionate about that and openly, could only ever want to do more in that space and trying to give to, young kids in particular who are going into foster care who have nothing. It provides them with a suitcase full of essentials, sanitary items, teddy bear, games, blanket, whatever it is, some clothes, just so that they've got something that they can call their own.
You've been working with them for a couple of years now, haven't you?
Yeah,
Been-
I have.
minute. How many years has it been going on to?
Came across Hope in a Suitcase 2.5 years ago. Been working with them on and off. We donate to them, Vinculum does, and also done some work with them here and there on some ambassador work, spoke at some schools and whatnot. But yeah, obviously need to do more. So there'll probably hopefully be a link if anyone wants to donate. Yeah, it's like $100 for a suitcase. You can give a young kid, to help them at least try and settle into a new home.
No, of course, that's absolutely fantastic. And just previously, you mentioned you had Vinculum Advisory as your own consulting firm. What are the steps that one takes to open up their own consulting firm? Because engineering's a little bit different in the sense that, you take up a trade, you take up a skill, whether it be nails, hairdressing, whatever it may be, or a physiotherapist. You can start off with one client. You have the skills as you're being trained. You provide a service, you go case by case. Of engineering's a little bit different. You've got insurance, you might need a team. Like, how does one open up a consulting firm? Does it start out as a one-man team and then do you scale up? Are there high initial costs? What about initial services? It's just so different to general businesses that other people may start.
Yeah, it is. What do you need? Well, you got to know how to sell.
Branding.
If you don't know how to sell, it's very hard to start a business. I've seen a lot of businesses, engineering companies start just with one client.
Mm-hmm.
They do a deal with their mate. They make a handshake. They come in cheaper on something. They know someone. They were at another business and realize they can do it themselves. Yeah, look, it's funny. I mean, Vinculum for me, it just sort of happened. It wasn't a plan. There was no real plan. But obviously, I think the mantra is being able to provide value, and a lot of clients want value. A lot of clients want strategic thinking. They want outcomes, of course, but they want someone that can look at their design or their project and say, I could save you $2 million if you change this one thing. When you're talking about millions of dollars, that's people want to know about that. They want to buy that. And I think that's what engineers in particular have a hard time with their personal branding. I think engineers have an issue with their branding. I think we all do. And I think we need to be pushing for higher premium services. I mean, that's what engineers should be. I mean, from a good engineer to a bad engineer can have a massive difference on your project, your budget, your program, right? I mean, it's tried and tested. How do you start a business? You get an ABN, you get a bank account, and you just sell whatever you can.
What were you first selling with Vinculum?
What was it? Well, it's funny because I was trying to stitch up property deals. So I was trying to amalgamate some sites. None of them came off, which is quite funny. That was sort of how it started. More Sydney water-based design verification, engineering verification, engineering smarts. I mean, that's sort of how it started. So, yeah, I think just finding the niche part of the market, finding something that not everyone does, or obviously Sydney Water is an amazing organisation. But we have a shortage of engineers in Sydney. We have a shortage of project managers. There's a shortage of planners. We've got a massive shortage of really smart people to drive the industry forward. So if we can try and harness some of that, particularly some of that energy, and train our people to become those industry leaders, that's my current mission. And I really believe that, we need to get more engineers into roles to give them the training so that they can, take our infrastructure and, housing delivery forward.
It seems like, much like Vinculum Advisory, you're still giving back, though. You're giving back to younger engineers through employability. You're giving back to Sydney Water because, as you mentioned, there's a shortage there. Seems to be a thorough line with a lot of what you're doing is, how can I give back in all these different avenues?
Yeah, I mean, look, I at one point, I think we had 6 undergraduate engineers. I've hired 2 or 3 first-year engineers. Even to the point where some people say, first year, come on. I mean, there's first or second year engineers who would, run rings around most graduate engineers. It's opportunity driven. Very lucky. And yeah, I guess, that's the differentiator is you're right. There is a lot of giving back. I'd like to think I do my best to do that. But, sometimes you look at yourself and you think, are you doing enough? I mean, I've seen entrepreneurial engineers come through my program. Funnily enough, I just hired one. I have hired them before. And actually, I'll give one of them a shout out. I had an engineer come through the program. She was amazing. She was great. And to the point where, I'd sort of thought, you know what, you've actually gone through this program so well, I think you're worth an interview. And then we ended up hiring her. And then to her credit, push for a pay rise. I'm like, yeah, like why would I not say you learned everything as part of the program, like not just to get an interview, not just to get a contract, but then to look to negotiate said contract. I'm like, that for me is a win.
So you're also funneling the best engineers to yourself.
Well, it's funny, and I often do reflect. I'd love to hire everyone. I mean, no doubt. You really would. And a lot of people say, well, if you got those systems in place, then you should be able to hire anyone. But it's not that easy. So, yeah, I'm very, very fortunate, and I hope and trust that the people that I work with, acknowledge and respect that.
No, of course, that's fantastic. You've spoken about wanting to change the way engineers think. This has also been a pretty big core mission of yours. Engineers are already known to approach things differently, so what change do you exactly want to bring about?
Yeah, so my view, obviously, and my mission that I have literally just came out of nowhere one day was to get engineers being more entrepreneurial. And by that, I don't just mean technically proficient, but I mean confidently proficient. I mean being able to understand people, being able to understand business, being able to understand sales and marketing and branding, being able to understand your value, because I think a lot of engineers don't actually understand their value. And entrepreneurship is so broad, right? It's such a broad category. But I want engineers to think like their project is like a startup. How can it be lean? How can it be efficient? What is the most efficient design? What is the smartest design? Am I using design thinking, innovation? Am I using tech, automation? What are the things that are going to move the needle on this project? Now, everyone would say, oh, that's just being a good engineer. And I go, well, I'm trying to challenge that to say, and a lot of times, and you see it through and through, you have, and I'd say it, you have this technical engineer, you have your project manager engineer, your people manager engineer. There's so many engineers. So what I'm trying to say is if you could be more entrepreneurial in your thoughts and your mindset about how you approach your projects or your engineering, it's only going to leverage you to be a better engineer.
So taking more ownership over your project, seeing what are all the factors you could improve to better streamline the project, better execute it. And in return, you're giving the client more value, and in return, you're getting more value out of it, because this could potentially lead to, like your previous student, asking for a better pay rise.
Yeah, maybe not so much ownership. I look at entrepreneurship as a mindset that encompasses so many things that if you could apply that mindset to engineering, it will allow your engineering to become so many things. I think it also ties into, as I said, marketing, sales, brand. What does that mean for engineering? But also, what are the outcomes? How can you value your time or your engineering output in a way that means you can sell the value? Because a lot of engineers don't know how to sell.
This leads to storytelling, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's some element of storytelling in there. Yeah, telling better stories. Like everyone hears all the horror stories. The project that fell down, or, the project that was delayed, or the liquidated damages because some engineers stuffed up. Like, you hear it all the time, right? But I want to try and pivot that and talk about the good stories. Yeah, I mean, every story has its place. I'm not saying ignore the bad ones. There's lessons to be learnt there, but I think engineers need to talk more about the value that they bring, and I think that's that engineering mindset or entrepreneurial mindset that I'm trying to be on a mission to do.
You did mention that some of the best engineers are storytellers.
Yep, it's true.
Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to be mentored by a bunch of amazing engineers over my career, and some of the best of them just used to tell these great stories. And not just like I went down the pub and whatever, like stories about detailed engineering problems and the solutions and how they challenge them to find the answer that gives you an insight into that, again, that curiosity, that detail, that why, till you're down at this level of detail that not a lot of people even get to. And to be able to tell those stories in a way that gets people engaged, particularly engineers, but also in a way where, because a lot of time engineering can just be so dry.
Mm.
It can be so, engineering sometimes it is boring. But I love that part of it. And I think to be able to explain that to people and make it unboring, but then also to dive into the detail on the why, if you can tell those sorts of stories, I think you have an audience and you'll be able to convey the reason why structural engineers should get paid more.
Mm.
Why wouldn't structural engineers get paid more if we're going to walk across a bridge and you don't want it to fall down? Or, a structural engineer might come up with a design that saves the project $2 million in concrete, but they still get paid 20 grand. How do we change that narrative?
Yeah, I suppose if you are able to better tell an audience what you are doing, show that story of why what I am doing is important, why what I'm doing, how it impacts everyone else around us, you're then in a position to say, like, this is important, and likewise, we need to be better appreciated, paid more for it, or whatever it might be. Or even to get people on your side if you're trying to win an account, or if you're trying to win a contract. Like right now, we're on the 12th floor, so this is all civil engineering. If this collapsed, like, no one's going to be out. I'm not going to be happy. I can't swim and I can't fly, last I checked. So
It's
there you go,
true.
civil engineering, critical. And now on the idea of storytelling, you've got a couple stories yourself, particularly in your time with GHD. You worked on the 3 Delta Tower Towns water supply and sanitation project in Vietnam. Now, just for anyone listening, this project has brought clean water to over 250,000 people in that region. 280,000 people to be specific. Now, could you please tell us a little bit about this project and your biggest takeaways from it?
Oh, that's a big question. It's the 3 Delta Towns project in Vietnam, funded by AusAid and project managed and engineered by GHD at the time. I started there as a volunteer, ended up staying in a little town called Bac Lieu, learned Vietnamese. That experience changed my life. I was there for 4 years. Biggest takeaways. I was very fortunate enough to work with an engineering manager called Bill Chapman. Rest his soul. He just passed away recently. One of the most amazing engineering minds that I've ever been able to work with. There were actually a real amazing technical leadership in engineering from GHD on that project. Some amazing ideas on how to work drainage through some of these towns that were like literally flat as a tack.
How did they do it?
With a flushing lake and stormwater pump stations that would fill up and be pumped out during wet and dry seasons. Phenomenal engineering and what was really at the time looked to be built in a developing country. Yeah, my biggest takeaways. Yeah, wow. Look, in the engineering space, it blew my mind what the scale of engineering could look like. I understood the limitations of the construction and the ability of the construction in that area and what you had to do to get things done and how the quality and the safety in particularly and how you had to navigate those challenges. Working with Vietnamese about FACE, how they ran their meetings, that cultural difference. And at one point, I lived there for so long, even some points where I wouldn't speak English some days, which was crazy in itself. The poverty, There was a lot of poverty in some of the outer reaches of the town where I lived. Did a lot of charity work. It changed my life. It really did. It wasn't just speaking Vietnamese. It wasn't just the project. It was the people. The people changed my life for sure. And yeah, I mean, what were my biggest takeaways? There's so much in-depth culture in Vietnam. It's a very complicated place, like anywhere. Understanding that culture, not just through history, but through language, expanded my mind in ways that I didn't think it could be. Like, I learned Vietnamese when I was 25. I sucked at language at school. I couldn't. I remember trying Italian, Indonesian, German. French. I just could not speak a language. And I remember I was driving about an hour and 45 minutes each way to work at the time before I went, and I had 2 Vietnamese tapes, and I just put them on the entire time, back and forth. Like, I was driving 3.5 hours a day to get to and from a construction site I was working on at the time. And yeah, the people there are the most amazing, most beautiful people you'll ever meet in your life. Their culture, how it's impacted me and my way of living, but also when I came back to Sydney, it was like this whole, like, we'd go out for dinner and I'd get angry with people for not sharing or serving themselves. Like, you just don't do that in Vietnam. They'll make you a rice paper roll, or you'll serve other people, or, you know, you won't touch a beer or drink a beer till someone else cheerses you every time. Like, sure, you can have a little sneaky sip in here and there, but people want to cheer. They want to be with you.
That community.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, to be honest, there's too many things to talk about in terms of takeaways. But the engineering challenges that we had to overcome, the engineering brain that was Bill Chapman was by far one of the most, like, genius engineers I've ever worked with. I mean, I watched that guy, you know, convert imperial to metric for flow rate out of a filter house into a reservoir through a DN600 on the back of an envelope, and get it to, like, literally, you know, 2 decimal places when someone else on a computer was crunching the numbers. Just amazing. And to see, I think the other thing too, that just one thing is, we were piling for a pump station next to a reservoir, and we had like a massive landslide, and these were 33-meter deep steel piles with weld plates in between each 11-meter section, driven into the ground to put the pump station on. Like, it's 300 meters of clay, right, in the Mekong Delta, right? There's no rock.
Yeah.
Like, everything is either on Meliuka piles at, you know, 25 per square meter or 50 per square meter. If the ground was horrible, that's what we put our 2,500 mil stormwater pipes on. Or it was these big 33-meter deep. Anyway, long story, the whole thing moved, and all these piles just snapped. And we're like, oh. I'm like, what are we going to do, right? And he goes, oh, I'll just move the pump station over there. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, what do we do with the manifold? He's like, just design a new one. I'm like, oh, but we already got one shift off the back. He goes, oh, no, we can put this extra pipe work in between. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, oh, you've got to work out the net positive suction head. I'm like, what's that? So I learned how to do that, and I redesigned this manifold. And then we just moved the pump station over there.
It wasn't phased at all.
Nah.
It was just solution orientated.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, we'll just move the pump station over there. I'm like, there's already a hole in there. He's like, oh, we'll just core a new one.
I mean,
I was like, oh, okay. Like, just no phase, just straight to solution. He wasn't even like there wasn't even any, well, I mean, maybe there was, but in his mind, it wasn't root cause analysis and why this happened, whatever. He was just like, we got to move it now and quick redesign. And then we changed the base slab. We changed the reinforcement. They went down an extra pile depth just in case. Like, it was just so liberating just to see someone who just was like not phased and just get on with it. That was a good takeaway for me. And he was a genius mind. you know, I remember we had something like, I don't even know, and I'm just thinking a number. Call it like 50 kilometers of stormwater mains to do, right? RCP. And we're like, okay, we've got this drainage to do. Like, what do we do? And he's like, oh, we'll just build a batching plant and we'll roll our own pipes. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we'll find a bit of dirt. We'll get a concrete batching plant in. We'll get someone to come in and we'll roll the pipes. We'll steam cure them in place, and then we'll just ship them out to all the towns
On site.
Yeah, like 50 kilometers of pipe from like 450 to 2,500.
So he just made his own batching plants. Like, no, we'll just make the
We-
RCPs
we-
ourselves.
We're not gonna import. We're not gonna get them from Australia. We're gonna make them here.
Yeah, right.
And like, that sort of thinking.
Well, if there's a will, there's a way, I suppose.
Well,
but
it's
I
not even
mean,
that. It's just like, well, what if I've got 50K of pipe to do, 50 kilometers, I'm just going to make my own.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I remember going there. We used to go there all the time. We'd watch them get rolled. We'd watch them get steamed. We'd see them in the yard getting cured. And then we'd chuck them on trucks and we'd take them to the other towns.
So this is the same guy, and this project was on relatively flat land, next to no grade. Was like, yeah, no, we can make it work. Add some pumps in. We'll make water go in
Stormwater
whatever
pump
direction we
stations.
need.
Pretty much,
Uphill,
yeah.
downhill.
I'm talking.
We'll do the biblical stuff. Doesn't matter.
I'm talking like 1.2 meter diameter propellers inside this pump station that looked like they were like it was like a funnel web. It had all these chambers and pipes, and then flat valves, and then other chambers with additional pumps. Anyway, long story. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back again. I like going back all the time.
Is the
Love it there.
project still running, functioning?
Nah, it's all done.
All done.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
but there's lots of it wasn't just the big infrastructure, right? Like, it was about the septic tank program that we ran through the women's union. That it was called like a micro health scheme where AusAid gave money for the homes. They could borrow the money to make and build their own septic tank in their house because no one had toilets, right?
Mm.
Build your septic tank, and then they had to pay the money back over time. And going into these houses and seeing, the mother of the house, the wife of the house come in and, oh, come and see my toilet. And it was like beautifully clean, everything. She's like, check it out. Like, look at this, the most prized room in the house. Because they'd never had a toilet. And now she had a toilet. Cost her a whole $160.
That's what a group of engineers does. It is
And
quite literally life changing.
She's paying. I mean, that program is still going, because all they had to do is put the initial money in, and then it just keeps paying it back.
How many years has it been? If it's still going?
Oh, I finished that project in 2009. I'm pretty sure the micro health credit fund scheme's still going.
Well over 14, 15 years. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's that's what credit funds do, mate.
There you go. You mentioned there was a project a while ago that had you overwhelmed to the point you had to take a week off.
Mm.
And now, coming from that point, growing from that point,
Yeah.
you've later mentioned you don't really get stressed anymore. You don't really get overwhelmed anymore. Shown you for everything you're juggling. What was that project, and how did you now reach a point of being stress-free? That's big for engineers. Stress is,
Yeah.
much like the factor, is just always on us.
Yeah, it's true. To be honest, I can't even remember. I can't even remember what it was. All I remember is that there was a client problem, there was a personality problem, there was a personnel problem, things you can't control. Someone stuffed up on something. I was getting pressure from somewhere else. And there's these moments in time where you're getting it from all angles. Like, it's okay to get something from one angle because you can just, right, yep, that's just one thing. But when you're getting it from 6 different angles, 3 of which aren't your fault and you can't control, and they're things that could just devastate a business or the people who are relying on you to lead, that's really tough. And I think that's something that, and I see, and I do see a lot of people who you say, are you okay? Like, you look like you're burning out. But they say, no, I'm good because I've just got this one thing. and I can manage that one thing. But when you can't manage that one thing, or it's something that's outside of your control, I think that's what leads to stress and burnout, because you can't do enough to get yourself out of that thing. And when you've got 7 of those things or 8 of those things, and it just all just cramps on you to the point where you can't just go, no, no, no. You have to go deal, deal, deal. And to navigate yourself out of that, that was tough. And yeah, I did take some time off. It was, it was hard going. The funny thing was, is it didn't make it go away. But it did give me a new perspective. And I think, I spoke to someone about this the other day about pinch yourself moments. Sometimes, I think a lot of times you have to pinch yourself. Got to pinch myself just to be in this seat right now. To have some boots on. Should have told you the other Vietnam story, but anyway. How do I not get stressed? Look, I think it goes in waves. You go in waves of different types of stress. I always lament that if it all went to shit, well, as long as I've got my family and my health, what else really matters? I think if you're honest with everyone and you make sure that everyone knows, like how ambitious you are and what the risks are and, what the rewards are. I think as long as you're honest with people and you're honest with yourself and take a moment to realize that we're just all, smart monkeys in the scheme of things who know how to build stuff or make stuff, that we're just animals. And I'm not like overly religious or anything, so don't quote me, but
Clip that right there. Everyone's
I think that's what you have to come back to. And I think the more that you can come back to that, and that, even if this podcast fails, even if I'm destitute with no money, as long as I've got my health and my family, nothing else matters. And a lot of the time, I say to my kids, they're crying and whinging where I'm like, did you break your arm? No. Did someone hurt you? No. Did you hurt yourself? No. What's wrong? Oh, something whingy. And just the more you're going to try and take that attitude and that mindset. I think everyone gets stressed, but it's different, right? It's different stress. It goes in waves. But I think when you bring it back to just being human and knowing that even if everything I've done just falls away and I don't have $1 to my name, as long as I've got my family and my health. And if you don't have your family and your health, then that's something to stress about.
So it's just about perspective, I suppose.
Yeah, it's perspective. I think a lot of people just need to try and be a bit more grounded. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the work. It's not all about the project. It's not all about the clients. It's not all about the deliverable. And a lot of time, I think if you can be honest and you can set expectations, you can say to someone, hey, I can't do that by Wednesday. It will be next Friday. Let them get upset, have a rant. Like, would you want that or not?
I had a manager.
I commit to that.
I really do like that. I had a manager at J. Wyndham Print, and he was so for his team. If a deadline couldn't be met, he wouldn't pressure his team to get the work done, stay back, do this. He would flat out say, look, to the client, look, it's not going to be done yet. If you want it done right, we need more time. We can give it to you in the way it is now, but it's just going to come back for another revision. And if it's all right, if I can say his name, this is Mark Santoro. Incredible. At the time, I think we had so many designers in that team, and he had everyone's back. And that really goes across to all the staff at J. Wyndham Prince, all the managers there.
Nice plug.
Nice plug.
Look, I work with Mark all the time. I got a lot of time for Mark. Mark, if you're listening, you're a legend. Well, so you should. So you should have your team's back. You should have your people's back. You should always have their back. 100%.
I got to bring it back. What was that Vietnam story with the boots?
Oh,
I got to know. You did mention it.
Oh, yeah. I probably did it on LinkedIn once. Yeah, I was going on site and there was a guy with a whack-a-packer in a trench, and he's wearing thongs, and he had like bandages all over his toes. And I said, "Oh, what happened to your foot?" He's like, "Oh, whack-a-packer." I was like, "Oh man." Anyway, so I went to the shop and I bought him a pair of steel cap boots. Like literally, I think they're like $25, not even, right? Here you go. And he's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And I'm like, "Oh, it's great." And we were like, "Yay." And like we left. Anyway, I came back to the site the next day. There he is in the trench with the whack-a-packer with his thongs on and the bandage. I'm like, "Bro, like, where are the boots I got you?" He goes, "Oh, no, I can't wear them. They'll get too dirty. My daughter's got her wedding on the weekend. I'm saving them for the wedding." I'm like, "Are you serious?" So I went and bought him another pair.
Here's one for work. Here's one for your
I said,
daughter's wedding.
here's another pair for work. Get them dirty. Save the other ones for the wedding." That's the mentality.
Well, his feet are definitely going to be thanking you now.
I don't know. This was years ago.
Um,
But it was hilarious. Like to the point where I just there was a moment of just going, I just can't believe that. Couldn't wear them.
that's traveling, eh? Just
Wanted
changes your whole
them for the
perspective.
wedding. Yeah, didn't even, and you can't make that up. Like you can't even imagine the guy's mind of thinking, well, no, I can't get these dirty because I want to make sure that I look good for my daughter's wedding. Because he probably didn't even have any shoes.
He's out there doing work where you, like swim says you need steel cap boots, and now he's doing work in thongs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Safety thongs. We just call them safety thongs.
There you go.
Oh
It's-
yeah. Oh, I've got photos of people's toes like jacked up. Yeah, they don't even put in band-aids. They'll just wrap it in duct tape.
Mm.
Cuts. Oh man, I nearly died. I was walking in a I think it was a filter house. Yeah, it was a filter house, and we were inspecting the water stop, and we're looking at all the water stops, and I was walking over and like, mate, caps on Rio caps, Pff, nah, and I slipped on a board and I landed, and literally I reckon I was like that far from just a full row of unprotected reinforcement.
Jeez, yeah.
Like literally landed and went, "Oh my God, I nearly just died."
That was. I've had a close call one of those, particularly bond deck. I was in a rush
Yeah.
to lift up some bond deck. Not only is it heavy, it is incredibly sharp. I didn't have my gloves on. Completely sliced open my hand. I've still got a scar
Ugh.
to show it. And at that day, I was just in the local medical center waiting to get my shots while still organizing some of the tasks I had to do. But it's stuff like that where you are on site where you almost understand, okay, yeah, this is why we have swims. This is why it's important.
Oh yeah. Oh
Because
yeah. Oh,
this is a tragedy waiting to happen.
the standard you walk past is the standard you accept, and I've seen like safety people walk past stuff where I'm like, hey, that's not a step.
Mm.
That's some rubble on the side of a trench that you could easily we should actually have something here. This should be barricaded. I mean,
Barrel
that's
webbing, something flagging.
Oh
anything.
yeah, anything. Yeah, I mean, I've seen, and the industry, man, like it's hard. Like it is difficult. There are things that you can't foresee, and I get that. Anyway, I don't get a chance much to do more of that anymore these days. There's a lot of people a lot better than I am at safety than I am. But
Well, I can assure you, the contractors I've worked at, they are very big on safety. And
oh
that
yeah,
is
you have to be.
huge.
Oh man, I
Just for the
want
sake
people to
of
go
everyone
home.
there.
I want people to go home safe. Anyway.
I suppose now, just to close off the podcast, we all need our fuel. So are you team Zinger box or 3-piece?
I'm probably neither.
Neither.
Yeah, I do love KFC. I don't think I would have had it in.
Must be the Western Sydney in me then.
No, not at all. I'm a kebab guy.
Kebab guy. What sauces
Yeah.
do you get?
Oh, I'm all about garlic and chili, and
right.
tabbouleh and cheese, chicken, definitely.
Mixed meat or
Oh,
beef
yeah.
or chicken?
Yeah, either. The more meat, the better. Yeah, I'm a kebab guy. Look, I sort of, I make my own jerky. I used to eat a lot. I don't actually eat much these days, weirdly enough. I just don't get as hungry, I think. I think my stomach shrunk or something. But Oh, I mean, explain to me what is the zinger? What is that? Is it the chicken? It's the spicy one, right?
Yeah, it's the spicy wicked wings. They got a bit of kick to them.
Oh, I love wings. I didn't know zinger.
Well,
was
the zinger
wings.
box is the it's got the 3 wicked wings there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the zinger burger itself.
Oh, it's got a burger in it.
And then you've got the chips, your potato gravy.
Oh, has it got the potato and gravy?
It's a full go, mate.
Okay, I'm the
full
zinger
go.
box hands down.
Definitely.
100%.
good.
Yeah, I just actually didn't know what it was. When you said the zinger, I'm like, I think it's the spicy wings. I like those, but I'm more of a kebab guy. But yeah, I'm going zinger box.
That's what happens when you're too deep into your niche.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity for having me interview you. It's fantastic.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks, man.